Bill Zeltman, America's real estate guru, coming at you with 18 places to find real estate prospects. We want to make sure that you never worry again. I don't have anybody to talk to. I don't have anybody to call. I don't have anybody to see. We're taking care of that. And once you learn all 18 of these, you will never have to worry again. So, where am I going next? Simple. Build your inventory. Huh? Build my inventory. Yes, build your inventory. You need to have an inventory of listings. Let me explain how an inventory works. Imagine that you own, we'll use a toy store. You own a toy store and Black Friday is coming. What happens if you don't have toys in stock? People will go elsewhere, right? They'll go on Amazon. They'll go wherever. They won't come into, they might come into your store, but they're not going to buy from your store because you don't have anything in stock. They go elsewhere. Real estate works the same way. You have to have an inventory. You need to set a minimum standard, and you have to come up with this number. I remember when I first got in this business, our number was actually 23. 23 houses listed at all times, and that was a minimum number. If you got to a point where one or two went under contract, you didn't think, oh, I need two more listings. No, I need to replenish my inventory to keep my minimum standard. That's how top realtors think. So let's just say right now you say, you know what, I want to get to where I have you don't have any. So I want to get an inventory of 2 or an inventory of 3. Great. So now you get those 3. One goes under contract. You immediately have to what? Refill the inventory. You got to call the factory and get more sent. Well, the factory, guess what? Is you making your prospecting calls every day. That's your factory of getting these listings and going on appointments and getting the listings. And then you make that number 5, and maybe you make that number 8 or 10. Again, you're going to have to find a number that works for you. But the more inventory you have in the more variety of houses, oh, I just want to sell $1 million homes. Okay, well, you know what? Great, good for you. There's not a ton of $1 million buyers out there. It's really more 2 or 3 now because of inflation. But you know, there's not a ton of $5 million houses out there for sale or buyers. Not to say you shouldn't have them in your portfolio, because you shouldn't just focus on that. You need 150, 200, still inflation. Your $250, $300,000 townhome or condo. You need the starter home. You need the this. You need the this. You need that. You need the middle of the road $400,000, $500,000 house. You need all of those different things in your inventory. Why? Because when your inventory has all these different things, guess what's going to happen? Your phone's going to ring. Inventory, by the way, begets more inventory. People are like, oh, that's a good listing agent. Look at that. He's done this, he's done this, he's done that. And they'll follow that way. Also, buyers will call. And of course, what's the number one question for a buyer? Where are you living now? Do you have a house you need to sell? Get a listing and a buy from them. Too many realtors rely on buyers. I call this roller coaster real estate. Buyers spike down, up, down. That's how your income goes. You control your income when you have listings. If you have listings, buyers agents, they go hot and cold, right? I got 3 buyers I'm working with. I'm running crazy. Then I have nothing. Then I get a couple more. Then I got nothing. When you have listings, there's always that person that's going crazy with buyers, and your listings are in the inventory. It brings steady income. Remember, we work with sellers. We play with buyers. That is the motto to live with. And do that by building your inventory. So set your standards. Don't go crazy. I want to have 10 listings. You got 0 right now. Don't do that to yourself. Let's say, you know what? I'm going to have a minimum standard of 2. Then when you get to 2 and you hold that, maybe go to 3, and then 5, and then 7, and get it to 10. And then just say, oh my God, 3 went under contract. I've got to get 3 listings. And you'll find that you'll find a way. You'll figure out a way to get those listings, because you're working and thinking differently. You're thinking like a top realtor, which is, my minimum inventory is 10. I've got to call the factory. And the factory is, guess what? Me calling for sale by owners, calling neighbors, calling this, calling that, and whatever else. So there's tip number 8, guys. Again, don't forget to follow me at America's Gurus. I'll be back with more tips real soon.